My name is Akanbi, Ifadola, Afofun, or Gabi Keta. I am a practitioner of the African traditional religion, a preacher of Ifa knowledge and its usefulness. Also, a member of the ancient conglomerate of traditional governments, also known as the Ogboni. With my young age, I've been able to undergo studies of Ifa and the usage of herbs and roots for medicinal purposes. Also, I'm a consultant on anything relating to the knowledge of Ifa and medicine.
All right, could you tell us briefly about your knowledge of Ifa and Òriṣà worship? How did it begin and why?
Wow. Firstly, it is very important and eminent to pay venerations and limitations to the ancestors before me, because they pass on this knowledge onto me and gave us this opportunity to be here today in order to discuss this. I will do that in Yoruba and do a brief translation in English. Àṣèbà akọ́dá, àṣèbà àṣẹ̀dá, àṣèbà bàbá, àṣèbà ìyèyè, àṣèbà olúwo, àṣèbà ojúgbọ̀nà, àṣèbà àwọn ìyá wa, àṣèbà àwọn ìyá mi ọ̀pákẹ́ àlàkẹ́, àkèrúrú làrúrú, àtoríjàpá àti kúnjẹ̀dọ̀ àtẹ̀rẹ̀ ròrò, àwọn ìyá mi arúgbó aṣọ má kanlẹ̀ gbọmọgbọmọ lọ́jọ́ Ògúnlé, àṣèbà wọn lénìí, àwa ṣèbà Ifá Ọ̀rúnmìlà bá mi Àgbọnnìrègún, àtòrí ẹni tí ò súnwọ̀n ṣe, ẹlẹ́rìí ìpín, ẹni tó mọ ohun gbogbo, tó dẹ̀ lè ṣe ohun gbogbo. Àṣèbà gbogbo òrìṣà ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá pátápátá, àwa ṣèbà àwọn aṣíwájú wa, àṣèbà àwọn tó ń ṣe lọ́wọ́, àtúnṣèbà àwọn tó ń bọ̀ lẹ́yìn wa. A ní pé ọjọ́ òní ìgbẹ́kọ̀ fún wa ṣe. Èyí ni ìmọ̀ tí a fẹ́ bá ara wa sọ, kí Olódùmarè kí ó jẹ́ kí gbogbo ẹ̀ kó yé wa. Àṣẹ. I pay venerations to my ancestors, I pay venerations to those before me, pay venerations to those after me, and pay venerations to those that are existing presently. I pay venerations to the forces of nature that control the universe, because if I made us to understand that the universe is not made by one person, it's made by the force of energies. So with this, I pay venerations to all the energies that may be, and we affirm that all what I want to do today, our interview today and everything I want to do today should go on smoothly, and we should be able to share the knowledge for people to understand. I would like to first define what is tradition. By Yoruba, because English is the language that we use in communication, but I prefer English as a tool of communication. So it is important that I use English to interpret what I want to say, not English using me to interpret what English means. So apologies for the commas and the full stop if you don't understand. I'm trying to speak my language, but in English. Yeah, tradition. What does tradition means? In Yoruba, tradition means Isese. Kí dẹ̀ ni Isese? What is Isese? As the word implies, Isese, where it begins, how it began. That is the meaning of Isese. That is tradition. So, what is Isese? Isese entails religion. Isese entails philosophy. Isese entails medicine. Isese entails science. Isese entails technology. With this, you can be able to define that one's tradition is one's spirituality, because the physical aspect of one represents one's spirituality. So that is tradition. So for us and many of us that are into the practice of Isese, it will be incomplete if all our aspect of lives does not represent our originality. does not represent where we come from, it will be totally incomplete. So this is tradition. It is not the Nollywood one that everybody do watch. No, Isese is where we come from. And someone said that without knowing the history, you cannot predict the future. So for us to know the future and for us to be able to utilize and manage the future, we must know our history. And what is our history? Our history is embedded in our tradition, which is Isese. This leads to our spirituality. As Africans, we are such a spiritual continent. We are spiritual as the mother of mankind. So we are very, very spiritual. And that spirituality is as simple as this. It's not going into trance, that is African spirituality. It's not closing eyes and doing some gymnastic and the likes, that is African spirituality. African spirituality is simply divined by SFA that says, Adífá fún Ìṣẹ̀ṣe tí ṣe olórí orò lóde ọ̀run. Ǹjẹ́ kí ni ìṣẹ̀ṣe ẹni? Bàbá ẹni òun ni ìṣẹ̀ṣe ẹni. Yèyé ẹni òun ni ìṣẹ̀ṣe ẹni. Orí ẹni òun ni ìṣẹ̀ṣe ẹni. Tí gbogbo àwọn wọ̀nyí tó bá parapọ̀, ìṣẹ̀ṣe la kọ́kọ́ ṣe nífẹ̀ẹ́ kó tó di pa àṣebọ. Ìṣẹ̀ṣe la kọ́kọ́ ṣe nífẹ̀ẹ́ kó tó di pa àbọ ẹbọra. That is, what is one spirituality is what is one tradition. One's tradition is one's father is one's tradition. One's mother is one's tradition and spirituality. One's destiny, Ori, head, is one's spirituality. So it says that it's all this that we first pay homage to. It's all this that we first practice before we give venerations and appeasement to any other energies. This correlates with the science world of physics and quantum physics that give detailed explanation on energies. That is, every human being is an energy, and that energy is being transferred. It's being transferred from our mother, our father, that make up the cell of our own energy. So with this together, that we are glad to tell everyone, I am glad to tell the world that one's spirituality is one's destiny, one's father, one's mother. For many of religion, foreign religion, imported religion, they might have, give this fear of even associating with mothers and our parents. But the tradition religion, in quotes, traditional religion, or let me say our tradition, does not give room for that. It gives room for us to associate with our mother and our father because they make up our DNA. They make up our DNA, which is our spirituality. It has,
Now, considering the Isese, this has to do with the worship of the deities. How do you decide which of the deities one will worship? Or is there a particular one that is given particular reverence to?
Well, I will answer by saying deities, ancestors, whatever name we might have like to call them, in my language, which is the Yoruba language, they are considered as Òriṣà. Òriṣà means the one whose head chose, or the one that is chosen by his or her head. And these primordial energies, as I said earlier, all of us are energies. But there are some energies that are primordial due to their works, due to their innovations and inventions. So these are the energies that we called Imale, also called Irumale, Latin Ile. They made up the land. Imale. So all these Orishas, there is none that should not be appeased, venerate, or in quotes, worship, if it's necessary that you want to worship. Of course, at the end of the day, as I said, all of us are energies. We will also still become one of them for generations to come, when they will reflect on our works and check the history on how or the works that we have done. So this gives credence to why Shango, which is the innovator of all technology, yeah, Shango is the innovator of all technologies that we are using. Shango is the innovator. Also Ogun is the innovator of primarily the source of technology which has to do with anything iron. Also, Ọ̀rúnmìlà, which gives us the coding system that we now use as the computer now. In the Ifa practice, we have the 256 odus that is like binary. They come in binary form. It comes in binary form, the 0 and the 1. Also, that's how the Ifa system is. So this is to tell us that all the works that we are doing will make us to be one of the Imale for the generations to come. So all Imales, all of them deserve venerations, appeasement, and worship.
Now, for ethnic or native Yoruba children whose parents never sought information about their birth through the Odu or the guardian ancestors, is there a modern way to find out?
Yes, that is why Babalawos exist. That is why Babalawo Nifa exists. We have to be clear, because Babalawo, anyone that belongs to Awo means sacred. Anyone that belongs to any group that is sacred, that the practice of the group is not shared openly, is an Awo. But Babalawo Nifa is the one that is an initiate of Ifa, which is the diviner and the custodian of all destinies. So, if Ifa is the custodian of all destinies, Ẹlẹ́rìí ìpín, we, the devotees, the practitioners of Ifa divination system, a trained Babalawo can be able to access that information, download it, and relate it to anyone that is finding what follow, which is called Akosenjaye. Aside from children, the younger ones, also elderly ones can also do it, but the process might be longer, which might involve a process in Ifa that is called Ìṣẹ́fà àti Ìtẹ̀lódù, which will be going. Ìtẹ̀lódù means going into the bush to be able to accept one's destiny, one's fate. That is the process. So it is very simple and it is very, very affordable, available if we are ready to go by the way.
Now, how have the African traditionalists coped with being a spiritual worshipper in a country where Islam and Christianity have taken over the public spaces?
It is ironic, at the same time sad, that Africans, especially people of the same ethnic race, are fighting each other because of imported religions and wasting valuable resources because of imported religion. Because these religions that we are accepting is actually a tradition of some people. That is what we are preaching, that don't see Isese as a religion, see it as your own tradition. Because the religion that you embrace, no matter the religion, the way of spirituality you embrace, it has tradition of some people in it. For the foreign religions and all those is a tradition of some people, of the foreigners that brought the religion. It is important that every African child trace back their roots to their tradition. When they trace back their roots, they will be able to carve a niche for themselves in the foreign economy. It is very important to note that why Africa is not, part of the reason why Africa is not moving forward in the economic space is because of its refusal or our refusal to carve a niche for herself with the resources available in Africa. Like my ancestor Ogun is popularly called the god of iron. Well, I agree. Ogun invented a lot of technologies, a lot of innovations. Ogun invented all the irons that we are using, and even to the point of gun. So if Ogun that has lived thousands or millions of years ago could be able to do that, we should be able to build on that, innovations, modernize them. Also, we have Osun Ibiki, who is the first energy that existed in human form to use leaf for medicinal purposes. The innovations of Osun Ibiki are what this generation now supposed to build upon, not us now running to other traditions outside Africa, like the Chinas that are not telling us alternate medicine. Meanwhile, we have that medicine here. That is my response to the question of foreign religions and tradition. Let's see it as tradition, not as religion.
All right. Let's look at another issue, and that has to do with religious tolerance. And considering Yoruba religious beliefs that allows for plurality of religion and that has allowed them to live in peace with other religions, even though the other religions haven't given them the same courtesy. For example, we saw what is happening in Ilorin with the recent arrest and detention of Tanolong. What's your take on this? I mean, why is there so much, religious intolerance towards the African traditionalists?
Yeah, it is important to say this first, because the Isese generally, all the practice, all the religions in Isese allows tolerance, peace, and equitable society. But it is important that we put this message out there to our fellow African brothers, that it is enough. It is time that we put an end to internalizing rival issues, because this has kept us in hostage for a very long time. It has been a tool that even the government has been able to use in order to keep us in hostage and in bondage. So it is time for us to put an end to it. That's my first advice to everyone out there. To continue it, I just want to tell fellow Yoruba, especially the Yorubas in Ilorin, that they should stop. They should stop destroying the work of our forefathers. If they really have to read the history of Ilorin, they will know that they are doing a big damage to the history of their forefathers. They should stop. Because what they are doing now, it is for them to note that generations to come after them will actually do it for them as well. So, it is, as I said earlier, that the Isese community gives room for tolerance, we just want an equitable society and where everyone can live in peace. It's now funny how they usually taunt the Babalawo Nifas and especially the Babalawo Nifas and the Osun devotees, because part of the oath to be a Babalawo, to be a custodian of Ifa, is to never use your knowledge to hurt any human being. So most of them know this. That's why they always feel like they can always taunt us. But we are telling them that they are doing it to the end now. And to the end in the sense that we are not going to fight back in any way. But legally, we are fighting. But others aspects of Isese, which include the Olodes and Kos, they dare not try this with all the Egbeode, with the Shango devotees. They dare not. But it's so bad that they continue to do this to the Babalawos, Onifas, and the Osun devotees, because they are under oaths not to do anything bad against fellow human beings. With regard to the learning issue, our elders, our oluwos, our senior and elderly awos are on it. Also, we are so glad that a popular public figure and an activist, Omoyele Sowore, has stepped in with full force into the issue. We really appreciate, and we are so confident that legally we are right, and we will be proven by the courts that all our actions are right and not wrong. Because the Constitution of Nigeria allows everyone, every citizen, of freedom of conscience, thoughts, and religion. So, in no way practicing any spiritual form that is traditional, that is not alien to the people of Nigeria. So we are right, and we'll be proven by the court with that.
Now, there are so many misconceptions about Òriṣà worship. What are some of these misconceptions that you know about, that you would like to enlighten the public about, and that you feel that they should know? For example, let me take the fact that people have associated Ishu as Satan.
Yeah.
But your religion says that Ishu is different from Satan.
Yeah. It's actually a very good platform for us to actually debunk a lot of all these myths and reorientate the popular masses about the Orishas. It is said that when they continuously tell lies, lies become truths. Eshu is not Satan. Eshu Lalu Ogiri Oko. Eshu is a primordial energy of justice. Eshu is the primordial energy that actually advocates for justice and equity. And that is why he does not have friends. And it's called Obelekun Sekun Kelu Belekun Elekun Sekun Laroye Seje. Because of how he advocates for one. Because of how he takes one matter on his or her head. So issue is not in any way Satan. Also, it's also to tell the Abrahamic religions that God of the Bible, God of Abraham, is not Olowo Gbogboro. Olowo Gbogboro is one of the many orikis of the forces that control the nation. Àwọn ìyá mi wọ́n ní Olowo Gbogboro tí ń jọmọ ẹ̀ lọ́fìn ayé lórúkọ táwọn ìyá mi ń jẹ́. It is also to note that Ifa, Ọ̀rúnmìlà, does not have anything to do with money ritual. Because especially it is so sad that Nollywood created that impression that anything that has to do with traditional spiritualism or spiritism is money ritual
And action.
It is important to note that the contribution of Nollywood to defamation of our ancestors, as the word defamation is now very common and it's flying around, so let me borrow that word. But beyond defamation is also demoralization of our ancestors. Gave this lot of misconceptions about Yoruba spiritism or African spiritism, that everything that has to do with indigenous spiritism has to do with money ritual, making money and making money. No. And it also notes, for you can see the Yorubas are actually embracing their culture, which is very fine, and also the spiritism, the spiritual aspect of it. But it's so sad that our Igbo brothers are not even running away from it because of the kanayo that all of us know. Kanayo. The Igbos don't even want to associate with their own spirituality. They prefer to even come to we, the Yorubas, to associate with the indigenous spirituality. So we are using this opportunity to call on all Nollywood scriptwriters to seek knowledge, because it's obvious that they don't have 40 years plus of practice and they still continue to demonize, they still continue to demoralize everything that has to do with Isese and African spirituality. We are calling on all of them to seek knowledge, and we are ready to help them out.
Now, considering the fact that the survival of the Ifa divination system has been because of generations of elders passing the knowledge down through the ages, especially through words and roads, how hard is the memorization of the Odu Ifa?
Well, that's one of the many secrets that is not actually a secret, but the gifts that we are gifted in Africa. For a practicing Babalawo, it is required that you know the minimum of, we have 256 Odus, 60 principal Odus. Let's use the word chapters. But in those chapters, you have verses, philosophies, histories, songs, poetries, plays as well. Everything literature is embedded in all those chapters. So it is required that a Babalawo know the minimum of 20 per Odu. A practicing Babalawo, minimum of 20 per Odu. So how it is being passed on? Now the world is so modernized that we have opportunities of books that are being written on Ifa. A lot of books where these verses are being collected. But indigenous is when Ifa learner, let me say that, or Ifa students is with his or her teacher, because it's not only a male that can learn Ifa or also practice Ifa. That's another misconception. Female do Ifa. Females are alawos, babalawos, but we use the word Yanifa for them. So it's not necessary that you become the wife of a babalawo in order to learn. No. You can be married to a professional outside the work of divination and be a diviner yourself as female. Yanifa. That's what it is called.
Now, of all the Odu Ifa, let me just put you on the spot here. Which is your favorite and why is it?
In all the Odu Ifa, you don't have a favorite. Reason be that all the knowledges that are embedded in all the Odus, they are vast and they are talking on so many angles. So you have a lot. I don't have any favorites. But the one that I actually relate to people most is the verse that recommends traditionalism. I use that word traditionalism, which I chanted earlier in this interview, that relates to us Isese and the meaning of Isese: mother, father, and one's destiny.
Now, how do you think the interest in African spirituality can be stimulated in the country and most of the misconceptions reduced?
Yeah, it's part of what we are doing now. Part of what we are doing now is it. And I'm so glad that the Isese celebration that happened on August 20, 2023 gained the widest and the most unimaginable attention across the country. Because the advocacy of the worshippers or the devotees made the state government, about four of the states governments, to legalize the celebration of Isese by giving them an holiday, which made the whole country to have the feelings that there's something ongoing. That is also part of it. Also, our way of life. I'm so glad, and I can tell you for free that about 65% of the Yoruba youths of this generation are now so woke. And not woke. We are glad they are not woke into atheism. They are not woke into Illuminati or all those early foreign form of other religion. But they are woke to their own tradition, which is also someone like me, and lots more out there, which are using every means to propagate, preach the gospel of Isese. And one thing that the Yoruba have, which is ìwà ọmọlúàbí, is enough, and it is influencing a lot of people to join the practice. I'm not saying join in the form of religion, no, to even practice it themselves, because it's impossible to practice the ìwà ọmọlúàbí without fulfilling one's destiny, which is what Ifa is talking about. So the Isese and generally everything about Ifa is having a strong hold in the country and overseas. Everything that has to do with Africa. And it is even important that the Yoruba spirituality is now waking the rest of African spirituality. It's something we are glad about. And if a proper database, a proper statistics is being conducted, we will see that 85%, or let me say 90% of the Yoruba descendants are actually into traditional spirituality. Even though they might be disguising or still have the umbrella of foreign religion, but they are into. But with time, everyone is now coming out to associate with African spirituality. Also, everyone has been exposed to the obvious truths that there is no human ritual. Which is, but there's money ritual though. There's no human ritual. There's money ritual. And what is the money ritual? Ise, logo ise. But proper work to be done at the right time. Someone that are not supposed to do tailor, that is that's supposed to be doing tailor, that is doing medical, anything medical. But when it comes to Ifa, will be guided to the right profession. That this is the profession that you ought to do. Yes, we can call that money ritual. I agree with that. That is money ritual. So with all this and so much knowledge that is in Ifa especially, it is important that Isese is gaining ground worldwide.